this octagon of life. Together we will fight.
Aljamain Sterling is coaching against Piotr Jan on the ALF Global Reality Series, which is like a Russian version of The Ultimate Fighter. While filming, he was apparently choked out during the series. The context? Likely just a crazy act of a wild MMA fighter, Zalim Khan Yusupov, known to have done this in the past, amongst other out-of-control behavior.
Честно, я вообще думал, это вот ты подходишь. Понял? Думал, что...
А ты не думай, что не в себе
Подожди, вот
лучше.
это нежданчик опять...
Aljo wants to return to the octagon June 7th at UFC 316 in Jersey. Derek Lewis is set to headline UFC Nashville on July 12th against Brazilian contender Thaleson Teixeira. Teixeira, an undefeated 8-0 heavyweight prospect, made a strong impression in his UFC debut in February, knocking out Justin Tafa in just 35 seconds. The fight marks Lewis's return to the octagon as he faces the rising star in a 5-round main event at the UFC's Fight Night event in Nashville. Lewis is currently ranked 9th, while Teixeira holds the 14th spot in the heavyweight rankings.
John Castaneda is taking on Chris Gutierrez in a featherweight contest April 26th in Kansas City, Missouri. They're supposed to fight a few weeks back, but Castaneda got ill the day of the fight and it got canceled. Other fights on the card include Gary Prates, Smith, Ming Yang, Chikadze, Onama, Pereira, Magomedov, Alaskarov, Muniz, Dalby, Brown, Schnell, Flick, Elder Hassanzada, Jacqueline Amarin, Poliana Vienna, Wellmaker Simon, and Chandler Edwards.
Ketlin Vieira will fight number 5 ranked Macy Chiasson at UFC Vegas 107 on May 31st. The event is at the world-famous UFC Apex in Las Vegas. It's the 3rd female fight on the card, including the main event, Barber versus Blanchfield. Magomed Umalatov misses weight and is out of the PFL World Tournament. Alternate Joseph Luciano steps in.
I quit smoking weed too. I haven't gamed either. I quit gaming. Yeah, I also haven't. Dude, I am so excited for this fight. Sugar Shane versus Merab 2 is happening, and I don't think people are going to be too happy about it. My life has completely changed over the last year. Last time I fought him, I was 29. I'm 30 now. I'm a grown man. I have hair on my chest now. I quit smoking weed too. I haven't gamed either. I quit gaming. Yeah, I also haven't Yeehooed once this year.
Jade the Peen?
Haven't Jade the Peen once this year.
Not once.
Not once. This whole year. Last camp we had some shit going on. My body hasn't felt this good since 2022. Gonna fight at my full potential. I know I'm gonna be a huge underdog. Like everyone's gonna count me out. Just like the Aljo fight. I don't want to jinx it, but dude, if I can just keep this pace up, how we've been able to train these last few weeks, all the way up into the fight, I'm going to be 70% better than I was in that first fight.
That was 30% right there. That was at 30%.
I wonder if there's a person in the world with autism who was not vaccinated whatsoever, nor their mother vaccinated during pregnancy term. I wonder if there is one such case to disprove the vaccine connection to autism theory.
Hey everybody, I'm here to ask for prayer requests again. Over the next 3 days, there will be huge storms coming through Arkansas. It's going to be massive. I'm just telling you, if y'all will pray that my farm is spared, that our lives are spared, and that nobody in Arkansas dies, we would so much appreciate those prayers. And just 2 weeks ago, there was the largest storm recorded since 1920 in Newport. It was an F4. It was 10 miles short of being an F5. It was basically an F5. When that storm came through, I heard the loudest thunder I've ever heard in my life. And it wasn't just a little bit louder than normal thunder. I've never even heard anything close to that loud. I mean, it rattled the whole house. It rattled the ground. It was deafening. I can't even tell you how loud that this thunder was. And that was just 2 weeks ago. And that storm was an hour away. I'm just telling y'all that these storms are huge. They seem to be getting bigger. And I'm seeing things I've never seen in my whole life. I'm hearing things I've never heard in my whole life. If you'll just keep us in your prayers, all of Arkansas, and me and my farm and my family.
Ariel Helwani's beef continues with Bisping. Ariel responds to recent comments Bisping made about him when Bisping was on Carl Froch's podcast.
My takeaway wasn't feeling mad, angry. Oh, sometimes I see the clip, I want to come on here, 10-7, hit him up, all this stuff. I'll even ask the guy, should I answer? Should I not? Should I respond? This and that. They'll say one thing, I'll ignore it. I'll come on, I'll do it. That never happened. That never happened as well. My takeaway was I felt really sad for Michael Bisping. I felt really sad for Michael Bisping because I can't imagine what it would be like to have once been a bad boy, to have once been a rule breaker, to have once been a pioneer, a trailblazer, a guy who marches to the beat of his own drum, to be that guy who did whatever the hell he wanted and didn't kowtow, didn't shill, was a rebel. That's who Michael Bisping was. If you watched him in the early days, 06, 07, 08, 09, that's who he was. The British bad boy, the shaved head, spits on your corner, tells you what he thinks of you, doesn't hold back, no filter. That's exactly who he was. And the guy that I was watching in that clip in particular, and the guy that we have seen over the past year or so, what he has morphed into, what he has turned into, is the polar opposite of that guy. And he knows this, and he knows that that guy once existed, and he has to look at himself in the mirror each and every day and pretend like he is still that guy, and pretend perhaps like that guy never existed when he knows that he has morphed into this zombie, this shill, this guy who has had his brain infected by this virus, all because he wants, he wants someone to be like, good on you, mate. Here's $5K to call the next Apex card, and please do your best to put over how great all of this is. And if you do a good job, we'll pat you on the head and give you the next big slap fighting gig at the Fontainebleau. This is what he is striving for. He is striving for someone to one day say, like, thank you for doing that. Thank you for saying that about big, bad, ugly Ariel Helwani, so that maybe one day he could get on that, that fight night in Austin, Texas. And then maybe just one day, if something happens to DC and if something happens to Rogan and if something happens to Dominic Cruz, he can maybe get that pay-per-view, all to get there. And that's exactly what he's become. He's become the guy who will try to do anything in his power to curry favor with his bosses, as much as he doesn't want to admit that, just so that he could get that opportunity, that big break, to call that big fight at your local Apex, your local arena in some random place in America. But Bisping in particular has become, because this is someone that I've met his family. I liked him. I considered him one of my close friends. Did his documentary, all these things, had him on for the book, and then all of a sudden he realized, like a few others, if I just talk shit about this guy, maybe, just maybe, I too can call UFC Vegas 104. So we all have decisions to make, and that appears to have been his. He'll come around like they all do. I can assure you of that.